everyone. On this week's Energy Quick Chat, we speak to Nosizwe Macamo, a member of the advisory board at the African Energy Chamber. With over 2 decades of experience working in Africa's hydrocarbon industry, she has expertise across the upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors in oil and gas. She is here to share some updates on South Africa's energy industry. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, Omono. I'm so glad to be here, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this show.
Thank you. To start us off, how many new investments is South Africa currently attracting, and into what projects in the oil and gas industry?
Very interesting. As you know, for the past, since 1993, South Africa has been producing gas for its state-owned company, PetroSA. In fact, the world's first gas-to-liquid processing plant was built in South Africa and was operated by PetroSA. So obviously that raised a lot of interest in gas investments. So currently offshore, there is quite a bit of interest in the blocks on the offshore. There is Total that is currently operating and has found large amounts of hydrocarbon comprising of gas and condensate on the off the coast of South Africa. This has ignited more interest. Shell has also come, and they would love to do some seismic in the block off the coast of South Africa. And there are quite other companies that are interested in doing some exploration. So we are at the nascent stage in South Africa, but there is huge interest in the gas deposits in South Africa. Actually, onshore, we also have some very interesting projects. In the Free State, we have the largest, natural gas has been discovered, which has got a high methane content. And the best part is that they've now discovered that the highest helium deposits in the world are found in the Free State. So there's a lot of activity starting to happen in South Africa with regards to oil and gas exploration. By the way, in the Karoo of South Africa as well, there is potentially huge shale gas deposits. And that also is something very exciting. There's a project called the Shale Gas Strategic Project, which the Central Energy Fund, which the government of South Africa is also very interested in progressing.
Great. So what is the official policy stance of South Africa in terms of the energy transition discourse?
Okay, very interesting. You know, the approach of South Africa is that when we look at energy transition, one size cannot fit all. Obviously, when you look at the developmental stage of most of the countries in Africa, including our country, and also given the rich deposits of hydrocarbon, we are saying that the transition has to be a just transition. In other words, it cannot be one size fits all because we're not at the same space as other countries globally, especially, let us say, in the West. So the country has to pursue the key priority of ensuring development using its hydrocarbons. And therefore, we're saying security of supply, of energy supply is very important. And we're also saying that, yes, the issue of climate change is also important. But we are saying that it's very key that each country has to make its transition according to its developmental stage. And that is what it is. And we're saying that we are looking forward to having an energy mix, but over a different time horizon, moving towards that low carbon and climate resilient growth trajectory. And I'm sure that is what the other countries as well on the continent are experiencing this challenge. So what is going to happen is that in South Africa, the government is going to continue to incorporate our coal supply. As you know, South Africa is a coal-rich country. Coal supply, along with solar power, hydropower, nuclear power, and also the battery storage capacity. So we want to use all of these together in terms of making this transition.
Yes, indeed. There cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach to energy transition, of course. So environmentalist groups have opposed seismic activities in South Africa. How should a country decide?
Yes. You know that South Africa is a very consultative country. So even though we were taken aback by the fact that the opposition to the seismic work was successful in terms of going through the court processes, what is happening now is that there needs to be continuous engagement with all the necessary stakeholders, so that we have to be transparent about what does the seismic activity involve, and also what are the experiences that we have globally in terms of where there's been work done in certain specific marine how do I call it, marine sensitive areas, as they say, and how this work has been done. I mean, most of the companies, as you know, are very they're specialized in being able to work in these environments. So what we need to do is have continuous engagement with the stakeholders and share experiences from these other countries and demonstrate how, sometimes it's fear of the unknown that gets you to a certain point. So we need to be able to demonstrate how this can be done in a safe environmental manner. And our Department of Minerals, our Department of Energy is very, very keen, has already started, in fact, with the engagement along these areas where these seismic activities are happening. And of course, they will extend that to other decision-making bodies, so that people can understand that this is something that can be done, and it can be done in an environmentally safe manner.
Right.
So essentially, we're saying that our stance is we would like to be able to exploit these natural resources that we have off our coast in a safe way. And that's really what it is.
Okay, great. So tell me about the prospects of South Africa's hydrocarbon industry. You've told us the realities, right? So tell me about the prospects.
Well, as you know, if we have a petroleum agency, petroleum agency in South Africa, and they have estimated that there is quite a lot of hydrocarbon on the in South Africa, onshore and offshore. I think they talk about 27 billion barrels of oil and 16 trillion cubic feet of gas. And obviously, that's very positive. And what has been happening is that we have also, it's very important that we have a regulatory environment that is conducive to this work being done. So a lot of work has gone into the reviewing of the Petroleum Development Act, which has been promulgated, and which is going to bring a regulatory certainty, because one of the things that we faced was that there was a regulatory uncertainty. Now we have regulatory certainty. The PASA itself, which is the Petroleum Agency of South Africa, has done a lot of work in terms of data collection, and therefore they do have data that they can share with prospective investors. And we do see that we are going to, once we have managed to overcome some of the challenges of, let's say the green, the environmental concerns, once we've managed to engage with all the stakeholders, we believe that South Africa has got a very bright future in terms of the hydrocarbon exploration towards, obviously, a just transition. We just have to look next door at what has been happening in Namibia. I mean, it's quite phenomenal what has happened recently in Namibia. And therefore, we are saying that we are on that path once we are able to successfully deal with some of the challenges that we are working on right now.
So how is South Africa looking to mitigate the impact of steadily rising global oil prices on its domestic fuel markets?
Yes, I'm sure that is a very pertinent issue that is also of concern to many countries in the world. I think all over the world we're experiencing this spike in the oil prices for many different reasons that I won't go into, which I think you are aware of. And what I would like to very proudly perhaps state here is that we have been working on mitigating this price increase in the country. And our department of the Treasury Department, in the last budget speech, recently announced that the fuel levies, which form part of the build-up of the the pump price here in South Africa, the fuel levies are not going to be increased. So that is a huge reprieve for the consumer at the moment, because obviously, as you know, the price was going up, and it has a ripple effect throughout the economy. So by taking this bold step, the Treasury Department has really assisted, the consumer. And what they're saying now as government is that this is a temporary measure to give temporary relief to consumers and to the country. But what they are looking at now, they are looking at how to mitigate by looking at the build-up of the price. So as you know, mostly the pricing is based on international fuel, international pricing, and then there are a couple of other additions many countries would add on, different levies for different reasons. So what is being done at the moment is that they are going to look in the long term at how to look at the build up, so that they can offer reprieve to the consumers in order to cushion the impact of this increase. So I think what is positive here is that immediately a temporary measure was put in place which has immediate effect, and then as time goes on, there will be a more permanent solution in terms of trying to mitigate these prices. I must add that if we can also continue with our projects in order to be able to take advantage of the gas that we have off our shores in South Africa and onshore, that would also, in the long term, go a long way in terms of mitigating some of the extraneous reasons that impact the price of oil or the price of energy, landing in our country here.
Fantastic thoughts. Thank you so much. So based on your industry experience, in what segments of the oil and gas industry does Africa need to upscale its capabilities?
Okay, I think one of the important things that I have found is that from an upstream perspective, many of us, we do not have a view on what the data actually contains. So we are normally what I would call information takers, where we will be told that as far as our analysis is concerned, you have 2 trillion cubes of gas, offshore. Now, it's very important, I think, that we have a handle. Each country, we need to have a handle on our data. Because, apart from the fact that data is value, it is also important to understand what it is that is being negotiated when you negotiate for these contracts. I could tell you that you've got 1 trillion cubic feet and you've got 10. And then I take 9 and you're not aware of it because you don't have a handle on your own data. So I think it's very important that we up our capacity of our data collection and our data knowledge for our resources in our countries. And the second thing I would say is that I think it's very important that we improve our decision-making processes. So we need to move into a stage where we've got very efficient decision-making processes. And by that, I mean timing is so important so that we're able to take these, these decisions in a very timely manner. And we can also build up our strategies according to the information that we have and able to take our decisions. We must not be information takers, and this is one of the things that I'm very passionate about. We should not be information takers. We should own our information, and we should also be able to, on the basis of that information, take the relevant decisions which are valuable to us and our country, to be able to use these hydrocarbons to better the lives of our people in our countries.
Thank you so much for these interesting insights. And we thank you for sparing us your time to appear on Energy Quickchat.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time to be here. And I do hope that we can have more interactions because there is a lot of dynamicism happening in our industry at the moment. It was my pleasure.
Nosizwe Macamo, a member of the advisory board at the African Energy Chamber. I am Omono Okonkwo. See you next time on Energy Quick Chat, where we speak to leaders in the energy sector.